In this video, we're going to demonstrate the use of the ExtendAire 2 for a low and out of air emergency. This is a setup that can be found in a pouch on the left side of some of our mutual aid fire departments SCBA. In this pouch, you'll find a 3-foot hose that has both a male and female fitting on the working end that can be used for buddy breathing.
Look at Corey. Right now what he has on is the MSA M7 Firehawk, same pack that we have in Elm Grove and Wauwatosa, but he has the ExtendAire 2. So this is what the city of Brookfield has with their SCBA. Little difference between Elm Grove and Wauwatosa is city of Brookfield does not have that detachable MMR mass mounted regulator hose. They go off of this emergency breathing support or supply system, similar to a Scott pack, so that EBSS. So we're going to kind of go through that and show you the difference between our pack and their pack and how we would use that buddy breathing line in an emergency. This situation is simulating 2 firefighters that are low on air. Since this is 2 City of Brookfield firefighters, what they would do is Corey would reach back, pop this out or open up the flap and release this 3-foot ExtendAire hose. So this is called the ExtendAire 2. What Scott has on with Wauwatosa is the ExtendAire 1. Envision Scott had the same setup that Corey has. They both release their line, they pop off the caps, and Scott would either plug in his male or his female into one of these ports, and then Scott would in essence be breathing off of Corey. The big advantage here is because this is 3 feet of line, they have a total of 6 feet between them. So they have more separation, it's going to give them more mobility, they're not going to be as congested.
Here's a photograph showing that configuration. If you look at the left side of both firefighters' SCBA, you can see the ExtendAire hoses combined for a total of 6 feet.
Versus with Wauwatosa, we pop off our line here and we would hook into another ExtendAire. We only have that 2 feet of length or separation between us. The other disadvantage of ours is that if Scott was low on air, he can detach right here and plug in, but remember, as he detaches, he loses integrity of his breathing air until he actually plugs off to another port, whether it's the city of Brookfield or it would be another port, our auxiliary or secondary connection on that ExtendAire port with one of our own guys. So Brookfield doesn't have to worry about losing the integrity. Corey would have this plugged in. You don't have to look up right now, Corey, but just plugging in a secondary line from another city of Brookfield firefighter, they still have integrity here, and then they have this port. So one of the things that we're going to need to be aware of, and I'll talk about this from a rapid intervention standpoint, is if this line would get damaged or the second stage regulator would be damaged, we don't have the ability to disconnect it. So we'll talk about that from a RIT standpoint. So again, to recap, 2 City of Brookfield firefighters, they connect in here. If Corey was low on air, okay, so this is a Brookfield firefighter and this is a Wauwatosa firefighter. If Corey's low on air, he pulls out this hose and then Scott's going to get ready to receive it on that port and he's going to go ahead and hook up right here. So they have 3 feet of length. You can see the way this is kind of configured. They're going to have to really work and coordinate their movements because they're a lot closer. And remember, this is just a buddy breathing or air sharing hose. Vice versa, City of Brookfield firefighters, so we're working together, we get separated, they come across each other. Scott is low on air. Corey removes it. You want to time this, so envision that you're plugged in, you don't have to go right now, guys, but I disconnect, I plug in, and we go.
Remember, because of the interruption of air supply to the low air firefighter, it's critical to coordinate the transfer of the MMR hose to an alternate supply source in a fast and efficient manner.
We need to make sure that we coordinate this. So I'm going to tell Scott, take a breath. Exhale. Take another one. Hold it. I disconnect. I come up to this port and I'm going to plug in. Take a breath. I want to make sure he's got air. Okay? And then I'm going to slowly release. In the event, take another hit, Scott. If I release and this popped off, I didn't get the connection made, I can push it back in right away. So we always want to make sure when we're disconnecting from a Tulsa or an Elm Grove pack into Brookfield or in another buddy breathing port, make sure that they have air to their face piece before you slowly release.
When a Brookfield and Wauwatosa firefighter are connected together buddy breathing, Regardless of the configuration or setup, because of how the ExtendAire 2 hose runs off the back left side of the MSA SCBA, the Brookfield Firefighter is a preferred position to lead out.
All right, now that we've covered two firefighters from two separate companies sharing air, just from a standard firefighting standpoint, we're going to look at Brookfield's pack from a rapid intervention perspective. Envision this situation where we come across Corey and we've lost integrity for whatever reason. So this guy, let's say this got damaged. Maybe the line got cut or severed, the MMR got cracked, it's disconnected. We don't have the ability to disconnect this hose and plug it in. What we can do, as long as we have integrity of the face piece, we can pull out our pack, we can disconnect here, and we can disconnect from the port, that ExtendAire port, and now we can plug in here and then plug in. Is your bottle still open? Okay. Yeah. This is the way that we can bypass Brookfield's MMR hose and regulator if for whatever reason it was damaged, and plug in one from the RIT pack because they still have the push to connect. So it's a lot longer hose, but as long as we can transfer air into this pack and we got good integrity of the face piece, this would be our option.
Let's take a look at a method for stabilizing the on-deck firefighter using the rescue air pack during an air transfill.
If Corey was the on-deck firefighter, so he wasn't critical, but he's getting low on air, we're going to say Scott's the critical firefighter. We're going to be transferring air to Scott, but we want to have a little bit more distance from the pack. Here on Wauwatosa, again, we don't have this on road, we can pull out this 3-foot ExtendAire line. He can pull his out and now plug in, and he would be breathing air off the pack. We got 6 feet of distance, and we have the option now of either using the 3-foot line by releasing the connection point here and releasing the connection point here, and then I can plug into Scott, transfer air to him. Again, it doesn't negate us from still keeping this connected. And using the 25-foot if we wanted to. But remember, we found that there's 50 breaths, at least 50 breaths in this 25-foot line. So in a worst case scenario, if we want to use this pack and everyone's getting trapped, we may want to use every ounce of air that's in here. So that's something just to be aware of.